JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, June 11th, 9 a.m. Talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. CPI day, right? Oh my gosh. So much anticipation coming into this morning and better than expected, right? The month over month and year over year came in lower than expectations, kind of sets the stage now for the Fed to at least back away from this talk of keeping rates uh, where they are and maybe start to actually get back to cutting rates, right? So I think best case scenario here, I don't like gaps, right? I mean, a lot of times these gaps, I wouldn't say they get filled, but we'll have some kind of pull in the morning. So, uh, but just great stuff here. 60, I was talking about 597 to 604. We're right here at 604 in the pre-market. So kind of want to see that hold here today. We'll see how, me, I prefer consolidation today and tomorrow before we start looking at those all-time highs. 611, I think it's 611.19 on the SPY from back in February. Also, we had POTUS come out this morning with a tweet saying that the China U.S. trade deal is done. I mean, who knows? I'm sure there'll be some release from the China side, but it looks like a 55% tariff on China products and 10% on the U.S. And so there was already a baseline, right? So 25% was already from the last trade deal back in whatever 2018, and then there was the 10% added on as the baseline. So that was 35%. So the tariffs going up 20% to 55. I don't know what that looks like. Supposedly rare earth deals. Hopefully we get some more details here, but again, more clarity, right? I think that's what the market's been waiting for. I mean, gosh, if you've been a bear this whole time since April 7th, April 8th, the S&P is going to be up and technically in a bull market. When at the open, it was up over 19% from the April 7th lows yesterday. And, it's funny, Goldman Sachs on right at the lows in April. Oh, we see further downside, blah, blah, blah. And then as we started to bounce, they said, oh, once that pause news came out, then they started revisiting that. And then again this morning, oh, we're bearish on tech, and then boom, we're up. So it's funny. I mean, it's just, I mean, that's their job, is right, to analyze the market or whatever. But it's like, if you listen to some of the commentary, you would think that the recession was here, so on and so forth. And it was like the CPI data this morning. It's like they're waiting for the next shoe to drop, like to be able to say, "We told you so," that the tariff situation was going to cause higher unemployment, higher inflation, all these things, and that hasn't come materialized. Besides the soft data, which was the consumer confidence and their surveys and all that fun stuff. Not saying we're out of the woods, right? I mean, that might pop up into the fall or maybe into next year or the year after, right? And then they'll say, "Oh yeah, that's the tariffs." Maybe it does, right? But you have to think that some of it's going to get eaten from the importer, some's going to get eaten from the exporter, and then some's going to be slight price raises, and who knows? So, all right, rants for other days. So that's kind of what I'm watching on the S&P. I just want to see that 604 hold, and maybe we get a tradable range, 604 to 607, somewhere in there. Don't want to see too crazy today. Yeah, and then this morning too, Musk coming out, and you could kind of see it over the weekend. He started retweeting some of Trump's tweets. So maybe he was having one of those episodes, whatever you want to call it, and he's kind of coming back on his stance. Oh, I apologize. I feel bad about some of the tweets he came and whatever. So needless to say, I think that all bodes well. All right, so that's kind of overall market. So now just quick on individual names, and of course, W and Lemonade, two of the nice trades so far. Both, W was chopping around, but it closed higher for the seventh straight. I think it's a seventh straight session, closing up nearly 2%. At some point, I want to lock the rest of my 50s in, and then I might look to get some spec calls, probably like the August strikes. I think they might report around August 4th. So I might look to get some strikes to encompass that, and they might be higher strikes, like 65s. We'll see how it performs here today. It looks like it's going to trade over $50, but you take a look at it. I posted this chart yesterday too. I mean, start looking, $56 looks like the next target if you can get over 51 and change, right? So maybe it does that today. Maybe the China deal or framework or whatever gets the boost W needs to head higher. So really like this one. I'll probably lock some more in at the open, and then I might take the rest off today, just depending if I can get some further out strikes. That's W. Same with Lemonade, and Lemonade has not been an easy trade. I mean, again, yesterday was choppy, even intraday. End of day, it looked like it was going to be in the red, and then the end of day surge pushed it back into the green, up nearly 1.5%, up sessions in a row. At some point, either the short's going to come in and pressure it again, or it's going to be the next leg for FOMO. So in lieu of probably holding on to my 45 strikes, which I would have hoped had more premium come into them yesterday than they did, I'll probably look to close those out maybe today, and then use the profits to just get some inexpensive further out strikes, just in case there is some squeeze. Because if there's a squeeze, it's not going to matter if you have the 50s or the 55s. they're going to be severe multi-baggers. But at the same token, I don't want to be holding my 45s, and June's the expiration. So as we head towards that expiration, time starts getting closer. So that's kind of the thought process there. So that's Lemonade. Got those Roku strikes yesterday on that break of 80. Don't want to see FOMO there as well. I think, and you start looking 81.50 or so. Actually, I got to see what that is from March. That looks like the next big spot. If you can break that, I think it heads into the 90s. So I was actually looking at the 85s for this week, but I'm like, let me get some time, inexpensive spec calls. I might look for some more strikes on strength here today, just because I think, I always think, right? That's my rationale in that sector. I think Roku's the platform to rule them all in regards to content providers. But yeah, I really like this setup. So I don't want to be in a spot where once it broke 80, that it really started to move, to really head higher. So that's kind of the thought process behind adding the strikes for next week. That's that. GameStop reported earnings yesterday, and great earnings, right? I mean, a miss on revenues, beat on EPS. It's fourth straight quarter of profits, but the stock's trading lower. It's like, it's disappointing to me, the reaction, because here it is, company, it's $13 billion company, $6 billion in cash. Their convertible debt, the offering it did, is not at bad terms. And it just, I guess, disappointing in regards to updates, right? And the company doesn't do any press conferences. In the press release, it's kind of like archaic. They just announce, in their earnings, and that's it. So you don't get much update on their business. They've also started sell off the Canada business. I think some of the business abroad. So again, this is not, to me, a core business name. It's what the future holds for them, right? And of course, there's Bitcoin treasury and other levers that they might be able to pull. I still think it's trading into the mid 30s and in 40s. So if that's my thought process, I'm going to add some calls here at some point today, possibly if it shows some strength, right? Maybe it gets back over $30 and starts to do a red to green. But disappointing. If not, I'll continue to have my eyes on it to play some calls later this week. VKTX and some of these other GLP-1 names went night. Well, I wouldn't say bonkers. VKTX was up 5% yesterday, but huge call volume. I think it was 30,000 plus calls traded versus like 2,000 puts, and then the premiums came into the calls. My August strikes are back solidly in the green. I might look to get some July 40s. I was looking yesterday. I just want to be patient, but maybe if it starts to break over $30, and that's the highs it hit in May, if it breaks that, then it's like a downtrend has been broken, and maybe it heads into the mid to high 30s in the coming weeks. So that's kind of the thought process there. And also with that is Turn, and Turn is up. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? It's up. It's in the green 10 days in a row. Obviously, it's a by definition a penny stock. It's under $5, but I might. Let's see here. I might look for some strikes. I was looking at the July 5s earlier yesterday. But I mean, it is up so many days in a row. But you take a look at the company, $350 million market cap, $334 million cash on hand. It's like one of those little pocket GLP-1 names that might be an acquisition target. It's early stage study on its oral GLP-1. So that's turns. Don't be surprised I had some strikes there at some point. Joby, great day yesterday, up another 2% yesterday on the heels of its rallies on Friday and Monday. So continuation. I put on a watch list. Don't be surprised if I had some October calls, maybe some 15s, just because I'll do it on strength. But just because I think if it starts to head into the double digits, it's going to break its all-time. Well, I don't know if that's its all-time high, but it's $11 highs back from late last year. So that's the thought process there. And then other names, of course, I'm still looking at the Reddits. Pool had a nice day yesterday, so I might do some. Finally, the calls are getting a little less expensive. And same with TKO. Travel Zoo got, like I was saying on the rant yesterday afternoon, added to the Russell 2000 and 3000. I think that's what it was. And you can see, nice day yesterday. It was slow and steady to the upside. If it starts showing signs of continuation here today, I might look to get some more strikes. And that's that. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.